Hello friends, it's Pheelan, back for a short discussion. I was talking to someone the other day and they had mentioned something to the effect of full preterism being a cult. And I was thinking about it, and although it sounds like, rhetorically it sounds impressive, but the more I was thinking about it, the more I realized that full preterism isn't really a cult. There are
three things
I think are necessary, three key ingredients that are necessary to something being denominated as a cult. The first is it has to have an organizational structure. Now, full preterism has always been a movement without any kind of organizational structure. Even those who were, part of Max King's inner circle still had recognized back in the day that there was a lack of organization among all the people who endorsed full preterism. So you've got, on the one hand, you've got, the Churches of Christ crowd, the Max Kingites and people like that. On the other hand, you've got the more reformed,
or pseudo-reformed,
hyper-preterists, which, people like, Mike Sullivan, Dave Green, those folks. Then you have the Covenant Creation crowd. You've got those people. You've got the Heaven Now people, Ward Fenley. You've got various subsets and subgroups. There's no real organization, though. There's no solid structure. There's nothing to where you can actually point and say, hey, this is like almost akin to a denominational hierarchy. It's nothing of the sort. Full preterism has always been criticized for its lack of organization. Even back in the day, the early 2000s, when there were two main websites that promoted the full preterist view. There was a conservative site run by Todd Dennis, and then there was a more liberal-minded site that was run by a guy named Virgil Verduva. The movement sort of congealed around these two main trumpets. That was before the days of social media. But there's no real organizational structure. Another ingredient, the second ingredient, is there's no real leadership. Now that you've got your de facto spokespersons, you've got people like Don Preston and William Bell and folks like that who've been around so long and who've been at the forefront of most of the debates between full preterism and futurism, that they've sort of become almost the de facto spokespersons. You might even call them leaders, but they're not organizational leaders. In order to be denominated as a cult, you have to have not only a really strong, discernible organizational structure, but you also have to have a pronounced leadership. There's no
real leadership
within the hyper-preterist camp. No matter where you look, no matter what sector you look to, you're never going to find a really pronounced
leadership.
So that's something to consider. You don't want to call something a cult unless it has an actual defined leadership. Another ingredient, the third ingredient that I was thinking of, is the fact that it doesn't micromanage people's lives. In order to be a cult, well, let me just put it this way. One of the trademarks of a cult is that the people within the movement, within the cult, have their lives basically micromanaged by the cults. So they don't only dictate to you what to believe, they dictate, where you can go, whom you can see, what you can do. They don't want to just get into your bank account. They want to micromanage. They want to rule over every aspect of your life. And that just isn't how it is within the full preterist movement. We just have to recognize that as a fact. Of course, the real cults, they micromanage people. They micromanage people's lives. You could even say, possibly, that you could say that, the Oneida community was a cult. Well, I don't really think it was a cult. I think it was more of a communal sort of movement. But you could say that was a lot closer to a cult than what modern-day full preterism is. But those are three ingredients, I think. And, of course, we've seen a lot. Now, you can have cultic activity. You can have a cultic mindset, and you can see some of this within the movement. I mean, we see that every day, where some people have evinced cultic behavior within the movement. And, that transcends full preterism. That bleeds out into futurism as well. There's a lot of people within futurism who evince this sort of cultic behavior, not wanting to question the views of certain leaders, failing to, look at the evidence, continually repeating over and over again the same debunked hypotheses and points of view. Of course we're going to see a lot of that, but it doesn't quite get you to being denominated as a cult. Anyhow, figured I would just weigh in with that. That's all I have for today. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.